If you're looking for business development success, I'm going to show you my top 10 that have worked for me time and time again. So let's jump in and take a look. So here we go, the top 10 business development steps for success. Now, this starts off obviously with a great foundation, and the best foundation is knowing what you are going to be selling and know it intimately. Really understand your market proposition. What are the features? What are the benefits? What's the purpose? What are the hot buttons for the buyer going to be? And when you find out what they are, use them to your advantage, because when you're in the sales moment, when you're actually diving right in, trying to get that person across to your way of thinking, you're going to need to know what elements you're going to have to tap into that's really going to strike a chord with them. You don't know what the buyer's hot button is. You don't know what they're looking for until you find it, until you unearth it, till you scratch past the surface of all the stuff that's going on for them and actually drill down into it. So if you don't know number 10, knowing your stuff, first and foremost, you are off to a bad start. And I know it sounds like sucking eggs, but seriously, if you don't look at this one element as a priority, you are going to be in the red right from the start, and we don't want that. So we want to get you into the black. We want to get you on the scoreboard. We want to get you into the success mode. So understand what the product is that you're selling. Understand what is it that makes it unique. Why is your product, or why is the product you're going to be selling, or the service you're selling, why is that better than your opposition? Why would that person want to buy this product from you? And why should they choose this over another product or another service that they can get elsewhere? Once we've established what our hot button is, what our features, benefits, all that is, we can now look at what are we going to be giving the client that's going to help you with your sales process. So what is your point of sale material? Do you have any brochures? Do you have any leaflets? Always make sure you've got a business card on you no matter where you are. And obviously, if you're going to be emailing that person, what is a PDF that you can send them, or reference material, things like a YouTube clip that shows them how your product works or how it's worked for another client. Ensure that you've got business cases too prepared so they'll actually be able to see why that product or that service is going to be better for them. Why is it going to be, what is that product or service going to do for them that makes them want to buy from you? So be prepared. If you actually find yourself on the hop, you may miss your opportunity because you sometimes only get one shot. And obviously, first impressions are the lasting impressions. So if you can come in the top there, show them what it is that you've got, give them the information they need, they're going to be far better, in a state of mind to buy from you. They're going to come over to your page. You're going to see, some of that information. And sometimes that point of sale material will actually do the job for you. So by doing that, you're going to find it's an easier path. Now, it's also critical that you are organized. And what I mean by that is develop a territory management plan. Ensure that you are getting across your territory, your area that you're supposed to operate in, with efficiency. And sometimes that's the area of a lot of failure in business development. You don't get to the clients that you are yet to find, and sometimes you're wasting time with the clients that you shouldn't have found. So it's a critical approach to business development. Also, where are your targets? How are you going to identify them and actually target them efficiently? Make sure you set time aside each week to spend on territory management. Are you going to be cold calling? How are you going to be doing this? So you've got to determine where your clients are, how you're going to get to them, and obviously make sure that you're organized enough to be able to get there. And speaking of being organized, that is where we want to make sure that we're punctual. Put in your diary, put in your calendar, take a notepad also too to write down notes that the client's talking to you about. But when you make appointments, make sure that you turn up. If you don't turn up to an appointment straight away, someone's going to think that you are unreliable. You're a person that they're not going to want to deal with. So perhaps send a meeting request. That'll also ensure that they're there. One of the worst things in business development is you turn up for a meeting and that person has completely slipped their mind and has actually gone somewhere else and done a different meeting or gone to another appointment. So that can actually make you lose motivation and can also make you less effective. So you want to be completely effective. You want to keep your appointments. You want them to keep the appointment too. So be proactive in that area. Also too, sometimes you can qualify a client like doing that. If they won't accept your meeting request, then they really aren't that keen to see you. So be disciplined with your bookings. Make sure you're punctual, never be late. If you are going to be late, call ahead. Let them know you're going to be late, maybe even rearrange that time. It might be uncomfortable, but it beats not turning up at all. That could be the most biggest cardinal sin you'll ever commit as a business development manager. And following on from that, number 6, have purpose. Every encounter must have a purpose. Make sure you're booking a meeting from a meeting or sometime to close the deal, close the sale commencement date. We're working towards this date, we're working towards that. Find out what their date is that they need to have the deal completed by and agree on a proposal to move forward. So from here, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that we're now going to be delivering this? Never make promises you can't deliver either, because that's probably one of the worst things you can do. And sometimes people do that thinking that you're just going to get the sale across the line. The trouble is, if you can't deliver that, it makes you look bad. And obviously, from that point of view, if you've got poor integrity, you're going to have no trust, you're going to have no loyalty, and you can't build a relationship with these people. And as we move on with these steps, you'll find that that is a very important aspect to business development. So make sure you've got a purpose with what you're doing, and make sure that you're steering them in the right direction that's going to bring them to where you want them to be. Because ultimately, there's no point having an engagement with somebody if you don't know what the end goal is going to be in that engagement. So remember point number 6. If you're liking the video so far, why don't you subscribe to the channel and also like the video? That'll help us rank a bit higher. Thank you. My step number 5 might be a little controversial for some. You need to be efficient in business development. So sometimes that means letting time wasters go. Don't chase poor prospects, because what they'll do is they'll just wind you up in circles, and sometimes we spend 80% of our time on the bottom 10% of our clients, trying to get them onto our wavelength. So don't chase poor prospects. Qualify your clients up front. Make sure that they're going to be looking for what it is that you're selling. Remember, go back to point number 10. Make sure you're across what it is you're selling and your features and benefits. If it's not for them, don't get all cut up about it. You can't sell something to somebody that doesn't want it, right? So pass up on the poor clients, but never pass up on a big client. Keep them bubbling away, because sometimes that can take 2 or 3 years to actually cement a big client who's going to be a big deal for you. Certainly never expect a big client to come on board in under 6 months. And I know that sounds like a long time, so you've just got to keep chipping away. But create opportunity through suggestion. Can I suggest that we're going to, move forward in this regard? Can I suggest that we do this? Can I suggest through that? Sometimes you need to take the bull by the horns and you need to take the lead. Step number 4, never dismiss the power of networking. That event that you passed up, you didn't want to go to, you may find someone there that you never expected. So never ever judge a person either. You don't know who they know, you don't know who they are. So I always ensure that I talk to everyone, and I don't talk to them as if it's just something I can get from them, but I just want to find out a little bit about them. You know what? Don't think of yourself as someone who's going to sell all the time as a a bit like a sleazy used car salesman, come across that way. Nothing against used car salesmen, but that's sometimes how people can come across. Never judge. Always ensure that that person is there like you are going to be the person that helps them, because really that's what you're doing. You're helping them with whatever it is you've got going. You know that is going to help them, whether it be a product or service. So don't look opportunity in the face and overlook it, because if it's staring you right there, you should check on those things much deeper. So always follow up on your new leads too. Sometimes a relaxed environment will help you generate sales. Remember, you are always on show. So even at networking events like that, if you're going to go get smashed with alcohol or other substances, people who potentially could have become a client are going to look at you and think that you potentially don't have what it takes. So always look for opportunity. That is probably one of the key things I can say. And ensure that potentially you don't judge a book by its cover. You never know who it is. So number 3, create leads. Be proactive. Don't wait for clients to come to you. If you're sitting around waiting for someone to walk through your door to come so you can just sit back and sell to them, you are going to fail. Sorry, I'm pretty blunt about that. So get prospect contact info as soon as you can. Try and chase leads. Don't expect people to chase you, because they won't do that. So if you get a lead, make sure you're the one who contacts them, follows them up, and keep repeating it until you get a no. Because until you get a no, it's a possible yes. Remember that. Until you get a no, it's a possible yes. That's probably one of the biggest things. I've had someone say no to me 7 times, and on the 8th time they said yes. So that's a powerful thing to remember in the back of your mind. Just because they're saying no, that might be no right now. It doesn't mean it's no forever. So be persistent. So number two, a lot of people struggle with motivation. So in order for you to be motivated, you've got to set yourself some goals. You've got to keep motivated. Now, whatever way it is that you are going to get your bum moving each day, that's what you need to use. So keep motivated. Reward your successes too. After you set a goal, make sure you reward it. If you don't do that, that whole goal setting thing is a waste of time. So one thing I've seen a lot of people do, and it certainly happened to me at one stage of my career, was get a bit comfortable after success. Once you get some success, doesn't mean it's time for you to sit back and relax. That's the time you need to go after it harder, because the old saying, bite off more than you can chew, then chew like hell, is an absolute honest truth. If you're not setting goals and being the go-getter in the team, you're the one who's going to be overlooked. Don't be overlooked. You're the one who's going to have to set the pace. You know what? Don't sit back and accept, mediocrity. That's something I can honestly say to you. If you keep pushing, you'll keep getting success, and never ever let those knockbacks or things like that get on top of you. And that brings me to the number one step that you need to take, which is build relationships. This is a priority. You know, the bigger the client, the bigger the relationship between you and them needs to be, because that's when things go wrong. That's when you know that relationship will actually be there to help bolster your business deal that you put together in the beginning. Just remember, it's easier to keep a client than it is to find a new one, and it's a lot cheaper as well. The amount of money you spend on finding a new client, isn't it much better to actually keep the client you currently have? And so keep them as a priority. Never let them down, and ensure that you don't drop existing clients for new clients, because maintaining those relationships will be something that you'll find will help last longer than anything else. And when should you be building a relationship? The moment you meet a person. The absolute moment you meet them, because you know what? People only buy from someone that they like and can trust, and obviously show that you've got interest in that person or that entity. Because the reality is, your clients over time, some of them will become your best friends. And if they're not becoming your best friends, if they're not becoming really close to you in that regard, you're not building good enough relationships. And so probably the best people at business development are the people who build good relationships, keep their client as their number one priority, and never ever let them down, because that's what's reflecting on you. So there you go, my top 10 for business development. Now, if you follow that, I'm sure you're going to be successful. But you've got to stick at it. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to follow those rules, and you've got to just keep in there. Don't give up. That's the most important message from business development. If you take one knock, get back up again and keep going. I'm going to bring you some more on sales. I'm going to bring you more on how you can develop yourself as well through your own future, finding your own path. But ultimately, it comes back to you. It comes back to the effort you're putting in and the discipline that you keep. And never, ever give up. In saying that, subscribe to the channel and like the video. That way you'll stay in touch with what we're doing. And there's a little bell down there. Make sure you tick on that so you get updates every time we launch a new video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being part. Cheers.